Going live. And we are live. Nice. Hi everyone. Good evening and welcome to another live episode on BND TV. Let's get all the formalities out of the way. If you like our videos and if you enjoy our content, please remember to subscribe. Please remember to press that bell button. Please remember to share the videos with your friends and family. And definitely comment. You will have noticed that I do reply to almost every single comment I get on our videos, of late. So I love to know your points of view. I love to know what you found useful, what you found interesting in our videos. And so like, comment, share, subscribe. Yes. Uh, okay, so that's the commercial break out of the way. And today we've got Amit Nair with us as our guest, and he likes to be called Nair. He says, "I've got a interesting name. You know, Amit is a very common name, and Nair is a very uncommon name, and therefore I prefer to be called Nair. So we'll be calling Amit Nair." And Nair is a super successful person. He is president with Paytm right now. He's had 17 years of investment banking experience with firms like Goldman Sachs. He's a graduate from IIM Bangalore. He's also super fit. He's an avid sports person. He plays club level cricket and tennis. That you can imagine how healthy, fit person he is. You know, he lives in Bombay with his wife and two sons, and you can say that he's got a dream life, right? Except that for him, the dream turned out to be a bit of a nightmare, and he had something called anxiety, and he's going to talk about that today. Now, if you look at me, a lot of you know me. Graduate from IIT Bombay, traveled more than 38 countries, been teaching art of living and meditation for the last 28 years, into personal coaching, plays the piano, cooks food, is pretty fit. I don't play club level cricket or tennis, but I am pretty fit. And yet, even I went through a bout of severe panic attacks and anxiety about a decade ago. And tonight we want to share about what happened and how we dealt with it. We also have Dr. Ankita Dhelia with us, and she's a doctor. She's a full-fledged MBBS doctor, and thank God she did not manage to realize her dream of becoming a surgeon. She she was hell bent on becoming a surgeon, and uh, you know was then convinced by the person whose photos is behind her and me, more by him than me, to go the alternative healing route. And she is a graduate from Sri Sri University's first batch of osteopathy, and I can say without hesitation that she's one of the best, if not the best, osteopath in India today, and rapidly getting to be one of the best osteopaths in the world. She has learned osteopathy, craniosacral therapy, patch flower remedies, meridian therapy, varmology, you name it. Like, she knows so many natural healing techniques, which she brings to the table when she gives a treatment. And it is an absolute pleasure to have her on our show today. And she's going to interject here and there as we speak about our experiences and talk about what is happening in the body, what is happening in the mind, and what we could do if we are in the beginning of an attack, what we could do to kind of either not have it or minimize its effect, and what we could do on a day-to-day basis, simple natural things that we could do that would help people who are having these kind of disturbances. You cannot even say it's a issue. It's not. It's really disturbance. And so Nayar, over to you. Why don't you share about your life and what happened, and how you coped, and then we will just interject, and we just have a conversation. We don't really. Um, so let's just talk for a bit, and let our viewers know that having anxiety is almost like spraining your leg.
Yeah.
you know, you need to give it a little bit of time to heal, and it becomes all right. And there is nothing wrong or bad or taboo or anything like that around this topic. So, your views, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Baba, and thank you for having me here. And thanks for the nice introduction. I think let's just kind of get to the topic here, which is, as you correctly pointed out, I think one of the big things is it's a very topical subject at this point of time, which is whether we talk about stress, whether we talk about anxiety, whether we talk about mental health, and leading up to kind of more severe forms of, as you said, you used a good word, disturbance, as it goes into more serious forms of whether it's depression or other things, and leading to kind of outcomes which are very unpleasant. And it's important that as a society that we kind of accept this and there is awareness around it. But more importantly, as I say, depending on which socioeconomic environment that you come from, acceptance of this particular topic is very, very important. And as you use the term, which is similar to how a physical deformity or a physical aspect about your medical health is treated and is considered perfectly normal, it should be the same case as you kind of think about some of these aspects of whether it's kind of anxiety or whether you're getting kind of panic attacks or other things. And generally, we haven't really been as open about it, as well as to some extent, I think most people have tried to kind of brush that aside and saying this is probably a mood swing or a temporary phenomena. But there are cases, as we say, that as there is kind of a sprain of your leg, and that can lead to a fracture, it's very similar that if you can identify a lot of these signs kind of early on, you can kind of also, in a way, deal with it with a few simple techniques and a few simple changes, and not lead it to a state where it needs any kind of a serious medical intervention. And if it requires serious medical intervention, it's perfectly fine. It's like as you need a surgery to kind of treat some serious ailments of your physical health. It's perfectly fine to kind of treat if certain kind of mental health issues have to be kind of framed. So I think in my case, just to kind of share my experience, right, which is I think it's pretty normal if you're kind of living what I call a kind of a classic kind of a urban kind of a big city life, which is, as I live in Mumbai, which is kind of you're working kind of hard, you're working long hours, you have a family, and then you kind of have your own hobbies, etc. But I started noticing at some point of time that there were significant bouts of and phases where I felt very anxious and very low. And these bounds of anxiety, as well as kind of feeling, as I said, low on energy, lack of interest in certain aspects of day-to-day activities that you would normally feel very excited about, but you lose a bit of excitement. I think those were the kind of the early signs that I started noticing. I think when I look back, those signs probably persisted for a long period of time, but this is, as they kind of started coming more to the surface, is when you start kind of acknowledging them and then starting to feel that, no, this is something real, and that's something that kind of need to be dealt with. So I think to me, that was a very, very critical aspect, which is noticing those signs and then starting to accept that there is certain degree of changes or intervention which is required. So that to me was kind of the first defining moment here, which is you accept and you see this and then you accept it. And a very interesting example that I'll give you is I was on this very important business trip, which was I was at the World Economic Forum at Davos. And there was a bunch of sessions that I was supposed to attend. And there was one session where I was supposed to speak in, and I just could not get out of bed. And a place where you would want to be kind of bringing your A game and you wanting to be there in terms of both as a participant as well as a kind of a active contributor, I just kind of felt that there was it was not really a performance anxiety attack. It was something else. And I could feel it because all of us have gone through, as you said, I'm sure you've gone through anxiety attacks or something which is happening in future, which is, let's say, when you're writing a JEE exam or when I wrote my CAT exam. We've all gone through some anxious moments when we kind of go through some of these big events in our lives. But this was different. And I could kind of see that this is different from just kind of a fear of performance or a fear of facing a particular event which is happening.
Amit, may I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
No, I just wanted to say, since you were talking about what built up to your problems, I thought maybe I should tell what built up to mine. And for me, I had a terrifically hectic trip, to the US, where I was teaching every single week. I was teaching a 6-day course, a Monday to Saturday course, 5 hours a day. And Sunday, I would take a red-eye flight to the next place and start teaching again. And I did this continuously for almost 4 months, with almost no break. I think there was 1 or 2 weeks in between that I had a break. And then when I came back to India, we had this huge youth event that we were organizing. It was on Christmas Eve and in Bombay. And we had close to 100,000 young people coming there saying that we will not smoke, we will not drink. It was a huge triumph, a fantastic event. And it was just, I had pushed myself so hard. I pushed my body so hard, being on hardly any sleep, there were times when I did not even know which city I was in. I would have to ask, where am I? It was like that. And then the jet lag of coming back from the US to India, I think all that added up and added up and added up. And of course, at that time, I'm very ashamed to say that my lifestyle choices as far as food were concerned, I would sometimes have dinner at 1 a.m. I would have pizzas. I really, really abused myself. And the only thing that kept me sane during that time was my meditation. It would be sacrosanct, 1 hour a day. I would meditate. And that is what I think kept me going. But I was still running on reserve, almost on fumes, and it was just the meditation that was keeping me going. And I think it was a big lesson for me that just meditation is not enough. You need to make sensible lifestyle choices as far as food is concerned, as far as sleep is concerned, as far as exercise is concerned. You need to take care of yourself. Otherwise, this body, which is such a brilliant piece of engineering, does break down.
True.
And I had a tremendous breakdown. I mean, it was a terrible night, that one night of that severe super panic attack that I had. In one side, I could see myself and almost laugh and say, what are you scared of? Where is the fear? Why is this fear thing coming? I was sweating, my heart was beating like crazy. It was nothing like giving an IIT JEE or and it was not performance anxiety. It was just a horrible, terrible feeling of being completely out of control. And for me, it came out of the blue. You're talking about you had warning signals. Yeah. I don't think I had the time to even look at those warning signals if they were there. And that one night was horrible. But I thought, okay, it's done. Next morning, I would be fine. And I was not. It took me almost 2 or 3 years to be able to get onto a flight again, get onto a plane again. I was in Bombay at that time, and we were going to fly to Bangalore. So I just walked into the plane as normal. And somehow I felt anxious all over again. I was feeling all those things coming up again. And there was almost 2 years that we kind of grounded ourselves in Bangalore ashram while I healed. And I think, all the time that I did not give myself at that time, I had to give all together in those 2 years, that I just had to stay in one place, take Ayurvedic treatments, take radiosacral therapy treatments, take the batch flower remedies, all the alternative things. Fortunately, I never went into the allopathic world, so to speak. My doctor told me that I can give you a very mild antidepressant because really nothing much has happened with you. That's what she said. So I don't know what a full-blown thing could be, because I felt it was like
full-blown thing.
Mount Everest, and she said nothing much has happened with you, but even the mildest of antidepressants can cause addiction, and I don't want to start on it. you meditate, you have tremendous control over your mind. I would rather that you fight this out naturally.
Yeah.
And she was like that. She said, I'm not going to give you any pills. You take Ayurveda, you take homeopathy, you take whatever other alternative things. Only if it really becomes completely out of hand, we will look at the medication.
But that's a very interesting point that you make, Baba, which is, as you said, that it took you 2 years and you kind of pulled back and you came into the ashram and did various kinds of things, right? Whether it's any kind of these kind of therapies, or whether you did meditation and other things. And that's a very, very interesting point, right? Which is that, to me, if you just can take the topic forward, right? Which is how you think about coping mechanisms here, right? One is, I think if you move on from identification and awareness to and acceptance, to start thinking about what to watch out for and how do you kind of cope with this, right? And somewhere a lot of these coping mechanisms are personal to people, but there is also a broader framework the way I think about it, right? And that's the way I kind of thought about it. And this is more in retrospect that I'm talking about, because when you go through it, it's kind of very difficult, but in retrospect, you can probably rationally articulate and kind of think about it. Right. So the way I thought about was in two big buckets here. One bucket was what I call the philosophical bucket, and the second bucket is what I call the physiological bucket to it. The philosophical bucket is similar to a couple of points that you touched. To me, in philosophical bucket, there were probably two things that helped me, which is, one was a philosophy of just understanding the philosophy of impermanence and saying, just kind of just maintain your equanimity and your balance in the face of impermanence, because everything is impermanent in this world and all situations will pass by. So that was, to me, a very defining philosophical thing. The second thing was...
I remember Gurudev telling me at that time to read the Yoga Vasishtha. And I tell you, every day I would read one page. It's not something that you can read more than one page of each day. And somehow that would just make me feel so much better. Amit, I just wanted to tell you that even though we were in Bangalore ashram and I was healed, it's that we cut down on travel. We were still teaching courses. We were still doing all the things that we were. In fact, my first book was around that time.
Yeah.
So we were doing all the things, and that is what I meant by, if you give your body a chance to heal, if you, like you said, if you step back a bit, and not really compromise too much on what you are doing. Like, we were not traveling; we were in one place. It can really help. And I love the thing that you said, that philosophical thing. So the one thing that I would recommend to everybody is read Yoga Vasishtha. And while I'm on that, there is this book called Dare, Dare, which is just a fabulous book. It's a Kindle download, on Amazon.in also. It's really one of the things that helped me a lot. And I'm saying this as a support system. The fundamental thing that helped me was my meditation, was my Sudarshan Kriya. That was the thing that...
And your point, which is just adding and building on that point. So I took a year-long sabbatical from work. So when I was at, as you mentioned in my introduction, so this was 2016. I took a year off. I was working at Goldman Sachs in a very senior position in the investment banking business. And I took a year off. And that year just kind of rejuvenated me. And I just needed that time and space for myself. And as you said, just kind of heal both myself physically and mentally. And this is probably one thing that I will probably offer to everyone, that every few years, if you can take a step back, you don't need to do it for a year. You can do it for 3 to 6 months, depending on what you want. That's something is highly recommended.
Exactly.
And I think as like someone, I'm a kind of a hardcore corporate person. I think as corporates too, I think people are becoming mature enough to accept those things, that people want these breaks. And I'm a big believer of that. We should be calling, that's another topic that we should have, wellness leaves and other things. But coming back to my point, right, which is the philosophical aspect, which was, one was impermanence, and the second was just contextualizing your problems. And sometimes if you contextualize your problem and say, what exactly am I worried about? You'll start feeling very, very, what should I say? Very small, because you're kind of dealing with problems that the whole world has dealt with and dealing with on a daily basis. In fact, people are dealing with more difficult problems in life. It's like if you're dealing with something in your job, it's like a small thing. If you think about, people are dealing with very, very serious problems. So that contextualizing brought a level of calmness, as well as, I would say, a little bit of gratitude. that helped me just kind of take it a bit better. So that was one aspect of it. The second bucket for me was a physiological bucket. And I'll kind of probably borrow a couple of things that you've already mentioned, which is what I call the kind of the HEMES. So for me, the C kind of stands for the company or the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So that you have to start watching out for. H stands for hobbies and how you want to spend your time. E stands for what you're eating. So, and there is a scientific way what you eat makes your thoughts are driven by that. M stands for meditation or any form of, I would just say internalizing and thinking about things and making some rational out of it. And S stands for the simplest thing, which is your favorite topic, the sleep. And the CHEMS framework helped me, I would say, I'm not kind of getting into the counseling and the kind of the medication aspect of it, but I would say the CHEMS framework helped me just kind of think about it a bit more clearly and help me create certain, I would say, changes, which I think is helping me in the long run to kind of cope with if something tries to come back. I try to kind of use some of these things. But I'll be interested to hear how you did with it. And I'm sure some of these things you also incorporated. But
but I did not have a framework. It just I kind of stumbled upon them by myself. Can you just repeat that, Nair? That was really interesting.
So this is the CHEMS framework. So yeah. C stands for the company. It's basically the people that you're surrounding yourself personally and professionally.
Yes.
H stands for hobbies. And this can be exercising or, in my case, playing sports. E stands for what you eat. M stands for meditation. And meditation, or I would just say, just kind of thinking, right? And just kind of thinking in your head and being clear about your mind. And S stands for sleep.
Yeah. I think I surrounded myself with the most amazing people. I fixed my diet. I did exercise, and of course, meditation and sleep have always been important
yes.
in my life. Yeah. I think it would be a nice idea to bring in Ankita now.
At this point,
she's been just sitting there sweetly smiling all the time. So, Ankita, would you have followed our discussion so far. Would you have anything to say over here?
Yeah, basically both of you, of course, you mentioned what was the trigger for it first. Like, no one was anxious without a reason. There was always some trigger or some habit pattern, some pattern, or some incident that kind of brought in anxiety. And then there were ways to come out of it. So this, you've mentioned a very nice thing with both your experiences, which most people kind of fail to understand with anxiety, is that one, if there is a trigger, or if there is something in your surrounding, or if there is an incident that is not too conducive, anxiety can come in, and it can come into anyone. A lot of people who get very anxious, either they will not say that they are anxious, and even if they acknowledge, most of the times they don't want to take that help, or they don't understand the mechanism that, okay, it's because of a trigger. Many times it's, so why is it happening to me? Why is it happening to me? How can it happen to me? With that panic, something that is associated is, how can it happen to me, or why is it happening to me? So there is always a why. There is a trigger, there is an incident, or there is something with the habit patterns that we have. The sleep is not all right, which you said with your CHEMS, or the diet is not all right. And all these things are contributing factors to anxiety.
For example, for me, I realized that if I had cabbage or green peas or besan, these were the three things that would immediately make me start feeling not all right. And even now, I have completely cut them out. I do not have cabbage. I do not have green peas. Now, this does not mean you should not have cabbage and green peas. Okay, both are great vegetables to have, very healthy. They simply didn't suit my system. And sometimes you need to become a diet detective to figure out what in the E part, as Nair would put it, is causing this. But yeah, Ankita, please go on. I just wanted to say this.
Yeah, so basically there is a trigger. There is always a trigger. Anxiety is not without a reason. And another thing that requires a shift in perspective with people who get that anxiety or get the panic attacks or get those phases where they are really blue is that anxiety by all means is a survival strategy of the body. For the body, the first and foremost thing is to survive. When the body feels that the survival is threatened, that is the time when it will give a weird kind of response in the body. It will play things in the body at 10x instead of x speed, and we feel that, oh, what is going on with me? I just can't understand what is everything going haywire. I can't think properly. If I'm sweating, or my heartbeat is too fast, or I'm gasping for breath, I'm hyperventilating, or I'm not breathing at all, whatever of that happens, or something tuck 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 happening in the head, some weird sensation in the chest, some butterflies in the stomach, they are all your body preparing yourself to survive either a danger or a potential danger. Many times
can I interrupt you for a second? And there I'm going to put you on the screen as well. I have been recently I read this book where he talks about a very cruel experiment that was done on monkeys. This doctor went into the jungles of Indonesia and he captured 20-30 monkeys.
Mhm.
He then snipped off parts of their brain and let them heal and then put them back in the wild. Those monkeys were perfectly all right, perfectly normal, except that within 2 months they all died. And the way they died was, they either they fell off a tall tree, monkey falling off a tree itself is like crazy.
Yeah.
Like they walked on a very thin branch, or one got swept away in a current in a river. Another, went in front of some predator and got killed. And basically, in less than 2 or 3 months, all these monkeys died. In very dumb ways that they should not have. And the piece of the brain that was snipped off was the amygdala, where the fear responses.
Mm.
The amygdala is what controls the fear anxiety response. And actually, when I read that, I said, "Oh my God!" Like you said, shift in perspective. The point that I am having anxiety over here means that my brain is actually functioning.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't, I would be wanting to jump off tall buildings just to see how it feels. And so fear is actually healthy and is life preserving. What Ankita was saying just now, that the body is reacting to a danger or a potential danger. It is just feeling threatened and it is trying to preserve itself. That is why the heart is beating so fast. That is why you are sweating. That is why all those things are happening. It is misplaced enthusiasm on part of the body. But we have to realize that the body is actually trying to preserve itself.
No, and you're absolutely right. It is a body. It's a kind of a mind and a heart's reaction to an imminent threat or something that they see, and that's kind of what it causes. I think, but the other element is, and I kind of read this somewhere, which is human species is the most evolved form of species, at least in terms of the evolution of the brain and what we can do. And the two biggest elements of that evolution is the memory that we possess that can store a lot of information, and the other piece, which is the imagination, that we can think about a lot of situations. One is the past and one is the future. The problem is, I think a lot of people are varying between past and the future, and that's causing them anxiety and stress rather than staying in the now and the present.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you're talking about our Art of Living course points, which says live in the present moment.
But okay, I didn't know that, but
we have the first principle of Art of Living is live in the present moment. So, but Ankita, we kind of interrupted Ankita, so I'll just bring her back on, and Ankita, please continue.
Baba, that's what I was coming to, that this whole thing is a play of what you mentioned, the amygdala and the hippocampus. So in the bodies, a natural, we have a watchdog, right? We have a watchdog in front of our house, or we have some alarm bell ringing, some camera there, which will monitor the situation around. Same way, we have an amygdala sitting inside our head. It's called amygdala because it's in the shape of an almond. And the purpose of amygdala is to recognize fear. So it will see something and it will perceive something as fearful or not fearful. So of course, it's a perception. Someone will see a swimming pool and they will go, yay, and someone will see a swimming pool and say, oh, water.
True.
So it's how I perceive. So that is what the amygdala does. It perceives something as fearful, threatening. This is why it said danger or potential danger. Then what it does is it sends a little information. When we are scared, we have this little friend, we want to go and tell, oh, there's something there. There's something that's bothering me. So its neighboring friend is the hippocampus. It will tell the hippocampus that hippocampus has this conceptual stimuli. It will say, it will gauge the surrounding, the situation, the 3D aspect of it will come in. That, last time water, this happened, last time you slipped and you fell, and then there was an ankle sprain, and then in the water there was this sensation of not being able to breathe, you were gasping for breath. Or it will tell, oh yeah, you really enjoyed that, splashing of water was so good. So we can go in either direction. Though I am taking so long to say this, it happens so fast that before I can realize what is causing the threat, I have already given a threat response. It is so fast, that communication between amygdala hippocampus. Then what happens if everything is all right and I perceive things as very nice, very entertaining, enthusiastic, then I go for it and there is no threat response that happens. But the opposite will happen if my brain has perceived it as dangerous. That no, this is not good for me. Then what happens? There are two circuits that come in play. This is where a long-term anxiety and just an immediate survival response comes in play. So one is, then amygdala will tell something called the hypothalamus sitting in my brain, danger, 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 danger. Now, hypothalamus is sitting in the brain, but it is also part of my endocrine or the hormonal system of the body. So there are two circuits it will take. One is hypothalamus, because it is part of the brain, it is nerve tissue. It stimulates a neural response, which is my sympathetic response. The reflex that I say, I touch a hot thing and I take my hand off immediately. So it is my defense. I want to come back. Or I see a snake attacking me and I just run away or I move away. So it's really, really fast. There is no time to think there. So the neural response is an immediate survival response that the brain does, which is a fight-flight response. Run away from the danger, fight the danger. Whatever you can manage, just do it and get out of it. So what all does it do? Will sound exactly similar to what we face when we are very anxious. My heartbeat goes really fast. Why? Because I want to have all the energy. I want to have all the blood rushing to my limbs to be able to either punch something or to run away from it. Then, of course, all the blood, I am not interested in digesting food at that moment. Who will think of digesting food when a tiger is attacking me?
True.
So all the blood will gush out from my tummy, from my intestines, again to my hands and legs, preparing me to just somehow face the danger. This is why that butterfly feeling in the stomach. I want all the awareness. My pupils are just like that, dilated. When I am anxious, I am just there. I can't close my eyes. I can't sleep. Little sound and I'll wake up. Another thing, everything dries out. I can't digest food, of course, because my digestion is not happening and mouth becomes very dry. Hands and all are very sweaty. So all that is a neural response and a very fast response, which ideally goes off the moment the danger is gone. But then there is another response that is triggered because the hypothalamus is part of my hormonal system as well, which is the chemical circuitry. So if you have to see the chemical, what is anxiety chemically is the hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis that gets triggered, where I will not get into the details, but one hormone called cortisol is secreted, which is again a very important hormone for survival. It prevents my body from inflammation, gives me immunity, maintains my sugar levels, does everything. But when the body feels that there is a potential danger, there is an impeding threat, then what it will want is it will want a lot of energy. So it will keep a little cortisol high in the system. What does cortisol do? It will always keep my body ready to fight an inflammation. it will always want to keep sugar levels high. Why? I need a lot of energy. Just in case something comes in, I need that sugar in my body. I need that sugar in the blood, so that the energy can be produced, so that this person can immediately run away from the danger, fight the danger, immediately get up. So what it does is, it always wants to keep me braced for a danger that is going to come. So my danger situation has passed, but my chemicals inside keep telling me, no, danger is still lurking around. Danger is still lurking around. Danger is still lurking around. Now what happens?
So I like to think of these two systems. The neural system is electricity, so it's like that. The hormonal system is chemistry. It's like a government bureaucracy. It takes a long time to get started, but once it's started, it takes a long time to stop. So yes, Ankita, please continue.
Yeah, so if there is a sudden trigger again, a second trigger that happened, or a third trigger that happened, or a fourth trigger that happened. One, anyways, if I was reacting at this level of stimulus, I will already react at this level of stimulus, because my threshold has been brought down because of my chemicals being overactive all the time. Second is, I just cannot believe that the danger is not lurking anymore, that the danger situation has passed. So this is why, although I know that there is no reason for me to be anxious, but I am still anxious because my body chemistry doesn't allow me to think otherwise.
True.
Why? Because survival has the four most important. Body doesn't think of making romantic relationships, doesn't think of really spending great time with anyone if my survival is questioned. So in all probabilities, anxiety is a survival strategy of the body. But only problem is here, just one thing about problem here is that the watchdog, that alarm that was there, the watchdog that was there has now become a mad dog. So instead of barking when there is something wrong, it just keeps barking randomly. So this is what we have to control. So, just two things I want to mention here, because you already kind of mentioned it in Champs, that amygdala is a storehouse of, one, of course, it's perception of fear. And second, with the hippocampus, it is a storehouse of memories. And it can immediately bring back all the negative memories or all the problems associated with my trigger. So the more and every time I think of a trigger, every time I think of a negative emotion, every time I think of something that caused discomfort for me, or that feeling of jitteriness inside my body, that amygdala kind of, the shape only keeps getting changed. You will notice the opacity, we say, it kind of increases in the scans. And the reverse can happen if we just keep building a bank of happy memories. So just building a bank of happy memories can help my amygdala not to be lesioned so much and not to give such a strong response to a very, very, very minute stimuli.
Which is kind of how I managed to finally fly, really. I thought of all the great times that I've had on flights. And then when there was one time when I just really couldn't get into the plane, and somehow I had to fly with Gurudev. And I flew with him, and if you're flying with him, there is nothing can go wrong, right? And so I flew with him, and there was no problem. I totally enjoyed the flight. I got off the flight, I was fine. And then I thought, why the hell do I think that Gurudev is limited to this physical body? He is an enlightened master. He is there with you the moment you think of him. And so that, along with all those lovely flights and all those fantastic conversations I've had on flights with people, all the friends that I've made, I just started thinking of them as I would, go towards the boarding pass, instead of thinking, oh my God, instead of going to that, I would think all the crazy movies I've seen, and, all the funny jokes that have happened while we were flying. And like, the first time Dinesh and I flew, Dinesh never had flown ever. So for his birthday present, when he was around 21 years old, I kind of, it was a big stretch even for me. So I called him to Ahmedabad. I was teaching a course in IIM Ahmedabad actually. And I called him to Ahmedabad, and then we flew back from Ahmedabad to Bombay, which was like a 6-minute flight, right? it takes off and lands, literally. So Dinesh was like so thrilled about everything in the aircraft. He was like this little 6-year-old child who had been left loose in Wonderland. But the best part
Yeah, but you make a very good point around associating your happy memories with the things that are in a way disturbing you or perturbing you, right? And it's very critical. They would be triggers, but with those triggers that you can also associate, and I think she made a very interesting point around that happy bank of memories, right?
Right.
If you can channel your memories and your mind towards associations which are positive, it's suddenly there is a net positive impact that kind of comes through in terms of how you start viewing a particular situation, and your anxiety automatically goes down. So that's a very interesting way of making it out.
So anyway, so let me finish Dinesh's story. So we land in Ahmedabad. It's 15 minutes. I mean, we land in Bombay. It's 15 minutes away. And so I asked him, "Did you enjoy the flight?" And he said, "Oh my God, it was really great." And then as we were walking out of the plane, he kind of stops and says, "I'm not feeling jet lagged." So his brother at that time had gone to the US. He had got a job in the US. So he had talked about jet lag to Dinesh that I flew. So Dinesh was expecting a jet lag in those 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would think of these crazy stories that have happened around flying. And pretty soon, I think my amygdala decided that it is great to fly and there is no problem.
Yeah. No, and the only other point that I'll probably touch upon, will different to some of the stuff that we're discussing, which is, I think we touched upon earlier, this whole aspect about acceptance, and a lot of people masking their own anxieties and masking either internally, either not accepting it or just kind of masking it. And I think sometimes it's almost incumbent on people around them to just kind of see some of those signs and help them come out of it and do whatever interventions are needed to be done. And I think more that gets done, and I think that would automatically create this whole normalization of that this is normal, happens to anyone and everyone, and this is perfectly fine. It's almost like I used to give an example of a third man kind of a syndrome in cricket, which is there are some people who are just kind of standing at third man. They feel everybody feels that they're actually playing the game, but they might be just standing there and not playing the game and just masking their inaction or what their troubles that they're going through. So it's important to bring them back.
So Nayan, what was it that you did to cope? How did you come out of it?
So as I said, I used 2 or 3 key interventions the way I would kind of want to put it out. I think to me, taking some time off. So one was just kind of going slightly deeper into understanding what the key triggers were. And I think in my case, at least the way I realized it was for a long period of time in my life, I'd kind of been highly focused on academic excellence, professional success, and all those things. And over a period of time, a lot of that accumulated itself in creating a bit of a mismatch of expectations and perceptions, and that gap, as I say, that kind of always creates this whole massive gap of injustice. And sometimes it just kind of escalates to a point where it starts kind of bringing you down. So in my case, that was, but I could see that it was going in that direction. So to me, that aspect of taking a break and taking a proper break helped me. And during that break, I tried to do a lot of these, some of the stuff that I said on the gym side, which is I started relooking at my diet. I started indulging in my hobbies a lot more. So I really picked up actively playing sports. I consciously kind of surrounded myself with friends and kind of my family where I kind of felt comfortable, where I could be a lot more kind of easy in terms of what I'm saying and how I'm kind of conducting myself. Meditation and some of this whole philosophical thing that I talked about helped me. Sleep, I think I was generally a good sleeper, so I didn't really need an intervention on that front. But these 3 or 4 or 5 things, that really helped me just kind of balance and then come out of it. And even kind of then making choices with respect to whether it's choices around friends or whether it's choices about my kind of my work options and choices that I made. Also, then it became a bit more, what should I say? I became a bit more, in a way, perceptive about what I want to do and what I want, where I want to spend my time and where I want to spend my energy. And I'm not saying I'm a kind of a finished product. It's still a work in progress. You still need to keep reminding yourself of some of these small tips and small kind of this cheat sheet things that you kind of carry in your back pocket and say every time it kind of hits you. And it's okay. I'm not. None of us are kind of saying that we're kind of leaving the society and will not be perturbed by a lot of things that would happen around us. It's just a matter of how you deal with those things. At the end of the day, it's all a function of you can't control your environment, but you can control how you react to that environment and what's happening around you. And I think that's kind of what helped me.
Yeah. So for me also, it was, of course, the Sudarshan Kriya. And you talked about hobbies. I really started getting involved in playing the piano again. I used to play the piano really well. And then, because of the travel, I had to, we cannot say give it up, but, I would not learn anything difficult because it would be so frustrating to keep forgetting what you've learned. So I started really focusing on my music a little bit more. Reading the scriptures. I read the Bhagavad Gita, I read Patanjali Yoga Sutras, listened to a lot of Gurudev's talks on knowledge. All in all, you know what? I think it was an experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But for me, it was life enhancing. And when someone now comes to me and says, Baba, I had this problem, I have this problem, I kind of empathize. I know what they're going through. For someone else, they just snap out of it. People say that. And you know what? If I could, I would. Right? I don't want to be in this state. I'm helpless. It's like telling a person with a sprained foot, what are you complaining about? Come on, get out there and play football. It's as ridiculous as that. So we need to really understand this, that a person who has this is helpless. It's like he's got a sprain in his mind. And it just needs that rest. It just needs that time. But the one big thing I think I have to tell, and I think Nayar, this is something that we both can tell, is that you will become all right. Just as a sprain becomes all right, this also, given enough time, becomes all right. For sure, 100%, you will be fine.
Yeah.
One more thing I want.
There is scientific evidence around it. There is enough science around it. There are enough cases around it.
Yeah.
I think it just needs to be accepted, and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
I can speak for myself. I'm perfectly fine. I'm better
Exactly.
than I'm better than
before. Exactly.
And it's an experience that.
And there was one more thing. Well after the panic attacks had stopped, the biggest fear was, what if it happens again? What if it happens again? If I'm teaching a course and it happens, what will I do then? These kind of things. And I thought, what? Even if it happens, what's the big deal? It lasts for 10 minutes to half an hour to an hour. You feel miserable in that time. And after that, you are fine. You start picking yourself back up. The next day, you are a little exhausted, tired. And in 2 days, you are fine. It's not such a big deal. A friend of mine who used to suffer from this said, it's like the mother-in-law. You got married. Now she is your family. There is nothing you can do about it. If she comes, she comes. You just have to grin and bear it and know that she will sooner or later go away. So when you have that attitude, there was another friend of mine who said something really amazing. He said, Baba, I think of it as a free workout. People huff and puff on, on those cardio machines and all that, and to get their heartbeat up. And here I'm sitting and just getting my heartbeat up just like that. My heart muscles are getting a fantastic exercise. So he says, the moment I start thinking of this and laughing at it and making fun of it, even though it is difficult at that time, especially when it's beginning, so, oh God, it's going to happen again. But if you can manage to do that, it kind of just gives up and goes away.
Yeah, no, it's as I said, I think to me, this whole aspect about impermanence and transience, right? It's like, it's the way it comes, it'll go. And I also know it'll probably come again and it'll go again. That's fine. It's like, as everything is impermanent, so is this. And you deal with it. And everybody, as I said, finds a way to deal with it. And it's perfectly fine. It's like any other, you get like cough and cold. This is like that. And probably cough and cold lasts longer than this, I would say.
Actually it does. So Ankita had some nice techniques that she has, that we can all do, which will A, prevent this kind of things from happening, and B, if it's just going to start, if you do this, then the intensity is dramatically reduced. Sometimes it just goes away, and I can vouch for that. So Ankita, would you like to show us some magic?
Magic, yeah. I just wanted to add one thing that both of you were saying, that we surrounded ourselves with people we like, with friends and family. That is one of the main things that is required, because the brain is fooled mostly with anxiety if it feels safe. The biggest cause it is that it does not feel safe. If we can make the brain somehow feel safe, then it gets confused, it is fooled. The brain is like a very, very small baby. And it is so fast to tame the baby. The brain is like that little nagging baby who will look at a shop and will want that toy and it will cry its head out. I want that toy, I want that toy, I want that toy, I want that toy. But the mother exactly knows that how to show the moon and put that, stupid khichdi in the mouth by distracting it. It's exactly the same with that anxiety. You can't see anything else apart from that okay, if this problem is there, or I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling miserable. But if you can manage to at that time make it, one, feel safe, and to distract it, like Baba was telling, I would just distract it with something.
Yeah, you know what I would do?
Stories of Dinesh Bhai and all. Yeah.
As soon as it would start and there would be something, I would just take up a random violent computer game and play. And it cannot focus on two things at one time. So either it can be focused on playing, a computer game which requires his attention, or it can be focused on getting anxious. So if I just would go and play some stupid game, I would be fine. It was one of the greatest hacks I got. One of the, I still tell people that there is merit in playing video games. It can help you deal with anxiety issues. But I have to say that, Nayar, you said that you surrounded yourself with friends and family. For me also, mom and dad, of course. But mom and dad were at that time they were in Bangalore, and we kind of stayed in the ashram and at home and all that. But Abhiram, Gauri Shankar especially, and Dinesh, of course, they took so much care of me. And then later, of course, Ankita came in, and they just took so much care of me. They knew what to do. They knew that, okay, this is happening. Sometimes it would happen when people are there. They knew exactly what to do. They knew that face, that look has come on my face now. They would shoo people out of the house, and they would the way they handled it, Gauri Shankar and Abhiram and Dinesh, it was just phenomenal, and it made me feel so safe. And what could have been an hour, 2 hour thing would finish up in 5, 6, 7 minutes. They were really a blessing in my life. And of course, Gurudev, so he was so supportive about it. He would say, don't worry, don't teach, don't just relax. You don't do anything. You don't worry about anything. And
it's a blessing to be surrounded by such people.
Yeah. I'm forever grateful to all these people who at that point really took care of me when I needed it so much. Even Lalit at that time had come into my life. He's a huge fellow, and he's like, chal to exercise kar, and he would take me to the gym and make me work out, and I would feel great, and he would say, now you can lift 10 kilo weights. What are you anxious about? And it was true, the exercise, the music, the great company, the nice food, Gurudev, the ashram's atmosphere, my own meditation. Then, of course, the craniosacral therapy treatments, the bachelor remedies, I think all of them added together for me to sail out of it, really.
Nice.
And I really want to tell this to people. Like Nayar said, the chems thing, and just know that you will be fine. It will become all right. Yeah, and yeah, but Ankita, you are going to show us something.
Yes. So what we'll do is we can do it together actually. So it has three to four parts to this technique. And so I'll show first, and then we can all do it together, because the best results are obtained when we do these with eyes closed. Okay, so the first is that it's called, I call it, it's not called like that, the windshield, or the wiper on the windshield of the car. So how a wiper moves on the windshield of the car, if you've seen, goes right to left, left to right. So like that, our fingers are the wipers and the forehead is the windshield of the car. So we go left to right and right to left. Like that. So it's like clearing the vision. So this we'll do some 7-8 times. After that, what we'll do is, it's called opening the suture. So we kind of, the brain is the skull bones are badly stitched and put together. So wherever they join, that portion is called a suture. So one goes right through the midline here. So we'll open it out, like, really you want to open something off. So opening it out. Do not worry about the hairstyle. Just do it. So front to back about 2 to 3 times. Really, I'm opening a tough box out. We can do it here. There is also another one here. So if 3 fingers and back I go, I can open with 2 fingers like this also till my ear in a hairband line. If you've seen those hairbands that we wear. So opening these. So we'll open these. Then now, because we have opened the whole head out, we need to put some stuff in. Not that it's empty, but still. So keeping the wrists very, very loose, we'll just tap. This is tapping, again, is very, very, very good for neurolymphatics. And there's actually a lot of study where it says that if you just tap the head all over the place, it helps a lot with anxiety. So tapping. And after the tapping, all we do is we integrate everything that we've done. So 5 fingertips together. The thumb goes on the forehead. If you can see where my bindi is just above that, that's here I put the thumb, and breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Some 8 to 10 breaths we take like that. Okay. So we'll do it together.
And the breathing, the breathing should be such that the exhalation is much longer than the inhalation. So shall we all do it? I think I'll put everybody on the screen. Ankita, just give me a second.
Yes.
We'll all do it together.
Yeah.
And everybody who is watching, please do it. This is not just something for anxiety, but it is a deeply relaxing, calming feeling that you will feel. For all the people who have done an Art of Living course, if you just do this little thing before you start Sudarshan Kriya, you'll have an amazing experience when you meditate. So yeah. Let's do this.
Yeah. So I'll be guiding along. So you can do it with the eyes closed. Just in case you forget, you can do a little bit of cheating and watch what's going on and close your eyes again. Okay. So we'll close the eyes and close to the wipers on the windshield of the car.
So you start on which side?
You can start. Actually, it doesn't matter, but naturally it goes left to right, right to left.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we can sit back and relax. Yeah, you don't really have to be up there. You can relax, eyes closed. With the hands, we take the wipers on the forehead, left to right, right to left. The pressure doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what I was telling. The pressure doesn't matter. It can just be like you're applying a cream, or you're just removing the hair that's stuck on your forehead. We are not in a hurry. A little slowly also we can do. Just left to right, right to left. Do not forget to breathe at your own pace. 3 more times. Very good. And now we'll just open the head out, opening the sutures. Starting
so while you're doing this, if you feel like yawning, please yawn. It is very good. Yawning is great for you as you do this.
Front to the back, from the forehead going all the way back. We'll do 3 rounds of this. Opening from front all the way down to the back, just above the neck. Then we'll open the other suture, just 3 fingers behind the forehead, 2 to 3 fingers behind, opening from the top down. You can use any 2 fingers, come down till the ears. Again, 3 times. Very good. And then keeping the wrists really, really loose, we will tap. Tap the head all over the place. Top, back, sides, above the ear, in front of the ear, behind the ears. Keep the wrist loose and tap. You'll hear a little tap tap sound.
And remember to breathe.
And last, we will move to the integration. So bringing all the 5 fingertips together, the thumb goes above the eyebrows and in between the eyebrows, the head, and breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. Continue breathing. Slow, long, deep breaths. Two more breaths. And slowly we can just relax the hands, keeping the eyes closed. Taking a few deep breaths in and out. And slowly and gently we may open our eyes. It's quite a torture to immediately ask someone to open the eyes after this. Sometimes people just want to keep the eyes closed for a while because the whole nervous system relaxes. Yeah. No, another thing is that after this, things seem a little brighter. If you open the eyes right after this, it's a little bright.
Just wanted to sit, just take your Sahaj mantra or something. And
Yeah.
Thank you, Ankita.
Yeah.
Amit, is there anything you would like to say as we close?
No, I think we covered it all. I think I'll probably just kind of repeat the same point, which is acceptance and feeling normal about it. Is a service that we can do to ourselves and to the whole broader society. And this is probably something to be accepted and not a stigma. And we should be a bit more sensitive and empathetic towards people who are going through it and help them come out of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's just what I would like to also say, that I already said it, but know that you will be fine, know that you will be all right, and know that it might take some time. Just as you cannot hurry a sprained ankle, you cannot say, come on, get all right tomorrow. It will take its time to become all right. And just as you are careful with a sprained ankle, you will not, you'll make sure that you don't bang into it, bang the ankle into something again. Like that, you may also need to be careful with that sprain or that wound in the mind. And I can literally guarantee you that if you check your diet, if you meditate, sleep, follow that care, surround yourself with really, really lovely people, within no time you will be healed. And as Nair said, you will feel better than you were before. And this little protocol that Ankita taught you is something we teach, is some part of a bigger protocol that we teach on our craniopsychotherapy program that we conduct. It's a 2-year training for people who want to become practitioners. And it's not full time. It's just 9 seminars of 5 days each, spread over 2 years. It's a fabulous course, and this is just one of the things that we learn. How to handle the mind, how to handle the body. And finally, I guess it's just to know that our bodies are super intelligent, and if something goes wrong with them, it is because we have made some stupid choices. And if we just redo those choices, bodies love to be healthy. They love to be healthy, and given half a chance, they become healthier than you can ever imagine.
And it applies to both the heart and the mind and the brain.
Yeah.
What you feed to your body physically, and what ideas and thoughts that you feed to your mind, they manifest themselves in various ways and keep you healthy, happy, joyful, blissful, everywhere. And one additional short point that I'll make is that we're working towards creating this as a more, what I say, and I think I discussed that with you, Baba, that we're actually launching a foundation which is called the Blooming Garden Foundation, which is kind of gearing towards mental health awareness, acceptance, interventions, and counseling. Still work in progress, early days, but hopefully when we do that a bit more formally, we'll come back again here. You and I will have a chat and love to,
of course,
walk people through what more we can do, and spreading the word as well as helping them.
Yes, Nair, for sure we will do that. Ankita, any last parting comments from your side? Anything you would like to add to what we've already said?
Oh, just that every time you feel a panic attack or an anxiety attack building up, just say that, okay, my brain really knows how to keep me alive. And thank your brain and your body.
Really. Thank your brain. Thank God that your amygdala is functioning. Right? Yeah. So with that, I think we'll bring tonight's session to a close. Nair, it was just brilliant having you. Thank you so much for sharing from your heart. It takes a special kind of courage to get up there and say that, look, I have had mental issues, especially in this country. And what I think what we are all here to tell you is it's okay. It's as common or as normal as having a sprain in your foot. It's not a big deal. You sprained your foot because you walked funny or ran funny. You sprained your mind because you ate funny or didn't exercise enough or did some foolish things for some time. And
it's more than me. I think it's so brave, and I kind of really admire you to come and talk about something like this, right? Because I'm like, as I say, when I contextualize things, I'm kind of a small speck doing something selfishly on the corporate side. But you are someone who's kind of devoted your life to kind of spreading the kind of the good wellness messages, and you have millions of followers, and you are coming in kind of in a way publicly accepting your weakness and making people understand. I think that to me is more powerful than even what I'm kind of doing. But thanks a lot for doing this. And as I said, I think more of us who do it, I think better it is for the broader society and people's well-being.
And you know what? I don't really think of it as a weakness. I think of it as a blessing, because it has really helped me help so many of my students. It has really helped me help so many people. They come and they talk in very hushed terms and, oh, you're having anxiety, don't worry about it. I had it. And, oh, you had it? And I say, yeah, I had it and I'm fine and you will be fine too. And in that itself, people say, oh, thank God, it's not because many times when you're having that, because you cannot talk about it to other people, you feel you are the only person in the world to whom it's
true.
And that's not true. There are a lot of people who are silently going through this. And as Nair said, a bit of empathy, a bit of understanding, a lot of hope, courage, encouragement, love, all that can make a huge difference.
And what better way of making use of your suffering to help others?
Absolutely.
And that's, you correctly pointed out, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Nair. You were saying something?
No, I'm saying on that note, thank you very much. And
thank you, Nair. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night. So I hope you found this video, this little interaction useful and helpful. And if you have some issues like this, don't worry about it, you will be fine. Okay. And if you don't and you somebody, give them a hug, tell them you'll be fine. Right. Ankita's little technique is really, really useful. Please use it. And I'll repeat, if you enjoyed this video, please comment. We will read all the comments. We will answer them. If you like this video, please share with other people. I think this is a very important video that needs to get out to as many people as possible. They need to know about this. Okay. And of course, we are having a lot of content. Some of it is a little serious like this. A lot of it is a lot of fun. And you're welcome to check out BND TV. Subscribe, hit that bell button, share, comment, and we will see you next time. Jai Gurudev. Good night.